Okay, I don't know what to say other than just to simply say it. It is all your fault. I can't take any credit. I can't take any blame. At least I'm not willing to on this. It is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, it is all your fault. Now, what I'm talking about is something that came up with my channel. It's been 2, 3, 4 months ago. I'm not exactly sure when this started, but I know what it's resulted in. That has made making videos much more difficult than it used to be. Now in the past, the way that I typically make videos is basically either there's something that comes up in my life that I like to talk about, I like to share, some issue, some problem, some wonderful thing in some cases that I like to share, and I sit down in front of the camera and I make a video hoping that that will in some way help you, whether it be to advocate, educate, or to motivate you. That's the three things I've tried to focus on the entirety I've been a part of this channel. But one of the things I really enjoy, even more than that, is when instead of coming up with a random idea out of my mind, I'm able to stop and answer a question that was asked by one of you. I'm able to sit down with a question in hand. Maybe it's something that was left in the comments. Maybe it's something that was texted to me. Maybe it was a result of a phone call or some other way of reaching out, maybe on Facebook Messenger, whatever. I like to answer questions that were asked directly to me. And typically speaking, when I get one of those questions, the way I'll handle that is, first of all, I'll answer you back personally. I read every single one of my comments. I reply back to as many as I possibly can. I read all of my texts. I answer all of my phone calls, at least if I don't think it's a spam call. So by the way, if you want to call me, it's a good idea to text first and then call. That way I kind of know it's you. But I read all of that stuff, and typically speaking, within about an hour or so, I try to reply back. If not completely immediately, I try to reply right back to that, give you the best answer that I have, and if I'm not able to come up with an answer, I'll try to find one. I've got several great resources, kind of online type resources that I like to go to that I deem reliable as far as transplant and transplant related information. And I'll go directly to those sources first and see if I can find an answer if it's not something I've already experienced or not something I've already dealt with. And if I can't find an answer necessarily there, or at least find one that I seem to think is reliable, then I'll reach out to some of my friends. I've got a ton of friends in the transplant world, whether it be coordinators or actual doctors or surgeons, any type of physician or healthcare worker related to cardiology, pulmonology, whatever the state is. I reach out to those people and I ask them the questions. I'll say, hey, I got this question right here. What do you think about it? If you don't know the answer, can you point me to a resource where I can find an answer? And they've been invaluable as far as making that possible so that I can better answer some of these questions more accurately and more thoroughly. However, what the big problem that has come up as of late, which I'm telling you again is all your fault, is I've not been getting as many questions as I used to. Now, when I first started noticing this 3, maybe 4 months ago, I'm not exactly sure, to begin with, it kind of bothered me because I said, maybe I'm not trusted as much anymore. Maybe I'm not needed as much in the community. And it kind of got me down for just a little bit. And then I began to realize what was really happening. And what is really happening here, I'm sure, is that we have finally become the community that I've always wanted us to be. I try to remind you that even though this channel is called The Transplant Helper, I am not the transplant helper. I'm just a transplant helper. And what I've tried to encourage you, if not seemingly recruit you into doing, is that every one of you, that you become a transplant helper as well as a part of this community and help others. Whether you're in clinic and you're sitting across the waiting room from someone who looks disturbed, who looks worried, or maybe looks like they have a question, and you strike up that conversation and you in turn say, hey, is there anything you want to know? I've got experience here in this area. I've been there, I've done that. I'm X amount of months or years out, and you sit down and answer those questions. And that's tremendous. That's probably the best thing that we can do. If not able to do that, we are all, most of us at least, are part of some type of group outside of this channel. And a lot of you will get over in Facebook groups in different places related to transplant or whatever your condition is. And I've seen you there. Someone will ask a question and you'll be right there in the comments and you'll be doing what you can to answer those questions. And that again is part of the Transplant Helper community's work, that we're helping one another right along the way. I have a ton of you, as a matter of fact, that when a video does come out, if anyone asks a question in the comments, a lot of times, even though I actually get a notification that says, hey Jim, you got a comment, you got a question, whatever, some of you get there a lot faster than me and you're answering those questions. And really, that's what I really wanted to happen with this channel. I didn't want it to be a channel where I sit down and I answer all the questions, or I sit down and give all the advice, or I sat down and seemingly set myself up as some kind of a standard, which I'm certainly not. I wanted this to be a community. And so what I realized is again, it is all your fault because you have made it exactly that. You have made it a tremendous community that has come together, that has begun to do its work, that has begun to give advice and to give, those answers, those questions, and to give that helping hand or that big hug and that shoulder to cry on. You've become exactly what I would hoped you would. And so for that case, I want to thank you. I want to thank you not only for, in some senses, albeit I'm a little disappointed, taking some of the burden off my shoulders and giving me a little bit more free time to do other things where I'm not constantly answering dozens and dozens of questions or giving pieces of advice all throughout the day. I did love that, and I still love to do it, by the way. But you have helped me. You've not just helped me, much more than that, much more important than that, you've helped the whole community to become a community. Many of you have even got the actual t-shirts, the Transplant Helper t-shirts. That's not what this is. This is Donor Lives Matter shirt. But nonetheless, you go into clinic and you wear, we call it merch in the YouTube world, but you wear t-shirts or materials or you're able to be noticed. And those are great conversation starters. And you have used that to do exactly what it was intended to do. So I guess really what this video is about is not about pointing a finger and placing blame, although I believe you are absolutely the blame for this. It's really about saying thank you. Thank you to you and congratulations for becoming the community that I always envisioned. I know many of you have as well, that we've always envisioned that this would be. Where there's no longer a void that is left, like it was when I got into this journey back about, transplant was 9 years ago. I kind of got into the journey lifetime, but at least 12 years ago when I was digging for information and come to find out there was nothing out there. There was no information out there like we have provided together in this channel. There were no videos. Now there are over 900. There were no videos. There was no information. But now there is. And that's because we have come together as a community and we're doing it together. I'm going to congratulate some of you, and there are very few, but I'm thankful for you. Some of you have started kind of your own channels and you've done your own things and you're reaching out and you're assisting and you're helping, whether that's providing housing or like I do, providing educational type material or encouragement. Many of you have started your own little sub-communities that I love to be a part of. I love to watch others in their videos. I love to watch others on their pages and to do what they do. And I'm so proud that you're able to do that. So again, this is really not about pointing a finger. It's about saying thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you do and will continue to do. And I look forward to being a part of your journeys. I look forward to being a part of your work and the things that you're able to accomplish because we're all in this together. You know, the transplant community is one of those communities that in one sense is rather large. It's larger than I want it to be. There are more people today that have had to have transplants that have gotten in that a difficult spot where a transplant has been necessary than I ever wanted to be. But because we're here, we make up that small elite group of people who are not just survivors, we are warriors who move through this process, who go past through this process, and who make these journeys worthwhile. And thank you for that as well. So once again, folks, I'm going to say like I do every time, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for your encouragement, for your advice, for all that you offer, not just me, but everyone. And until next time, please stay stronger, friends.